Yeah, it's your boy, D Harv. Welcome to Straight Up On Game, where you going to get it all from all sports, from wherever around the world. We here to give it to you and bring it to you live and live in color. We got the Boise State fans. We got the Fresno State fans. But here we go. And we got the NFL draft tonight. So now, here's your host, D. Wright, the running back guru.
What's going on, y'all? Hey, we are back on episode 33, but before I get started, I have to bring in our other co-host, Mr. Bryan Welch. What's going on, B?
Nothing much, guys. Happy draft day, everybody. Before we can start talking about the NFL draft and also who's quarterback you or running back you at Fresno State and Boise State, it's Billy the Kid, Coach Billy Battle, joining us on Straight Up On Game. Coach, I see you're rocking the Raiders gear. I know D. Harv is rocking the Cowboys gear. Yes. Happy draft day, everybody. I think disappears, but hey, I said it. Ashton Gentile was going to go to the Raiders.
Man.
Just said it.
Hey, you did say it. You did predict it.
You did.
Hey,
We've been talking about that for weeks.
Yeah, big congratulations to Gentile, y'all. Big congratulations. I'm not a Raider fan, but I am a football fan. But I do love running backs, and he's one of my favorites. So, big shout out to Gentile. Well, you're a Raider fan, Billy. So what's up, man? How you feeling?
Hey, baby, that's a good fit, baby. Hey, Shador, no, we got Gino that came down, to be back with Coach Carroll, and we needed to fill that running back spot. We let Jacobs go. Jacobs did his thing in Green Bay. It's like, man, what's going on here? So we had to go for a running back. Had to.
Well, I love it, man.
I'm happy with it, baby. I'm happy.
Okay, before we get to Welch. Hey, before we get to Welch, Billy, I see a Dallas Cowboys jersey on one of our co-hosts. I don't even know what happened in Dallas, but what's going on in Dallasville, man? Tell us what's going on.
I don't know. But anyway, shout out to Duval on the Travis Hunter pick. So
yeah, that was big.
I'm going to become a Jacksonville Jaguar fan now.
I think I might too.
Well, here's the thing. We've been talking about the Cowboys would screw up the draft pick in the first round, but I think they actually kind of got a good pick with an offensive lineman. Hey, you need somebody to protect your quarterback, and you have to protect Dak Prescott. Hey, you have to have a good offensive line, and it starts in the first round. Good pick to get Tyler Booker. You know what? A guy who played at Alabama, and if you were watching the NFL draft on ESPN, Nick Saban raved about how he was able to play, and also this guy was at Nick Saban's camps when he was growing up. So this guy has a good pedigree. He's going to be able to play well. And I think if he stays healthy, I'm not going to call it, but D. Harv better get ready for the playoffs. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But there's a whole lot of things that have to happen. And, of course, exactly. I mean, hey, you know what? You touched on that, guys. Are we surprised the Jaguars got Travis Hunter and how quickly he was picked off the board?
He might be a missing piece. I know we all look at the Jaguars like, man, they struggled over the last few years, but with a guy like Travis Hunter, you can do so many things. I mean, they have a pretty good quarterback over there. Just to name a few, I believe they have an okay defense, but now you're adding someone that's electrifying, to the Jaguar organization over there. But I don't see him going to the playoffs. I just don't. It's hard for me to foresee that, foresee that. But I do see them making some early noise as they move forward. Travis Hunter, I'm sure he's excited now, but when he wakes up in the morning, he's probably gonna shake his head like, man, I gotta go play for the Jaguars. But at the end of the day, man, it's all about opportunities, and congratulations to that young man as well.
And the question will be, will he play both sides of the ball, or will he stick to offense or defense? And if you have him as a utility player, that gives the Jaguars more an advantage. And, I mean, we've not seen a utility player in the NFL in a very long time. I don't think we've even seen a utility player in the last 25 years.
Right.
If you're able to have somebody step in certain situations, that might pay dividends to the Jaguars, especially in how easy the AFC South is. in the last couple of years.
Well, I'm just going to say this before, because I know we got some antsy diehard fans. We're going to get them on after our commercial, but I'm going to say this. Remember Champ Bailey? He was a baller, right? Played both ways. I mean, Dre Bly. There was a lot of good players, right? Charles Woodson was a double, but those gentlemen have to pick one side of the ball after a couple of years in the NFL. It's not as easy, but there's something special about this kid, Travis Hunter. There's a couple players I feel that's overrated. I just feel he's a natural just athlete. So I mean, you probably can put that kid at punter. Again, I'm not a Colorado fan. I just love football. I love Deion Sanders, and I just love watching Travis Hunter. But he's going to sell a lot of tickets for the first year for sure.
You can bet it.
And before we go ahead, D. Harv.
Oh, I was saying you can bet it. It'll be sold out every game.
Oh yeah,
it will. Yeah, it will.
And before we go to break, go ahead, Billy.
I mean, you think it was something when he was in Jackson State where it all started. Took it to Colorado on a bigger stage, and here he is, the number two pick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And before we go to break, guys, we talk about his college teammate, Shedeur Sanders. Now, the first round is almost done, and the Chiefs have the pick in. I think pretty good on the quarterback situation in KC, I'm not going to lie. But where does Shedeur land in the second round?
Probably
I'm gonna say Denver.
Probably in Jacksonville.
I'm gonna say Denver.
Okay, Bo Nix. A little bit of competition for Bo Nix.
Okay. I feel. Remember last time we spoke, I said that it was going to be a D-line, O-line. I don't know if y'all remember this. I said it was going to be a D-line, O-line heavy. First maybe 6-7 picks. When it comes to the draft, because normally when you don't get a lot of quarterbacks, that's pretty much what the draft is going to entitle. It's going to be a couple running backs flow through, and it's going to be a D-line and O-line draft, right? We know the trend, but I don't know. It's too hard to tell. I thought it was going to be Pittsburgh. Me and Brian, we was texting each other. We both said Pittsburgh, and it went the other way. But again, I don't know. At this point, it's pretty much he better be ready to kind of be humbled a little bit, because it's going to be a little different. He's going second round. There's a couple quarterbacks. We'll wait, like Carr, right? We're talking about the Carr brothers, right? One Carr went first round, the second Carr went second round, but ended up starting. It all depends what the organization wants, right? So we're going to save those talks, and then we'll talk some more draft, but we have to get started on this biggest rivalry, one of the biggest rivalries on the West Coast. After this commercial, we'll be right back. Yes, sir. That was one of the Heritage Bowls. Anybody remember Billy White shoes? Everybody remember that good gentleman? If you're a little bit older, you remember he was a legend back in the day. He is going to be, there it is. He is a legend. He's going to be a host at a 7-on-7 that we are throwing, I believe, next month sometime. But we're going to start to bring on our fans. This is the point where everybody is joining right now. We see all the numbers rising. We're going to just bring everybody on at once, because that's just what we do. And we're going to bring on Bronco Man. We're going to bring on Jason. We're going to bring on Kip B. We're going to bring on John Woodward. We're going to bring on, who else are we missing? I think we're missing Bronco.
Blameyer.
Yes, sir. I think, is everybody on, it looks like? Yes. I think we're only missing one person. And that's Justin. He's not on right now, but I'm pretty sure.
Of course not.
I'm pretty sure he will get on. But fellas, how are you doing?
Doing great.
Doing good. Pleasure to be here.
Fantastic.
Good. Are y'all ready for this episode, because it's going to be juicy?
Let's go. Bring it on.
All right.
I brought backup this time. Last time it was only me, so I got two fellow Bronco fans this time.
All right, so you do the honor. Introduce your Bronco homeboys, man, for everybody real quick.
So I got my homeboy Kip, and then over on the East Coast, we got Jacob, aka Bronco Blameyer, who's an avid fan.
I see.
Yeah.
Late night.
And some of you may even remember his uncle used to be the Boise State athletic director, Gene Blameyer.
I sure do. You almost look like your uncle. That's why you look familiar.
Yeah.
A little chin action right here.
It's the Blameyer physique, you know. It all
Yeah.
All right, Bronco man. All right, welcome back. He's one of our
introduction. We're still trying to convert him to the blue and orange, but we got John Woodworth over there.
Going on, guys?
John.
Hey.
Bulldog. Okay, I see you, baby.
What's up, Dwayne?
What's up, man? Who? And that's everybody, right? Jason. I see Big Jason.
Yep, right over here, man.
That's Big Dog Jason right there.
Yep.
He's actually leading up the Green V section we got going on. Big things.
I love it.
Say, man, we're loving it.
Nice.
I love it. Yes, this is going to be a unique show. I know we're all this. You know, our hosts. We're so excited to be doing this. This is our 33rd episode, so it's not like we just started overnight. We have been trying to build a caliber of rivalries, right? So we know the Fresno State and Boise State rivalry goes way back. And, you know, it's just an honor to be able to talk with fans and be able to hear the true voices. And that's what our show is about. So, Welch, I know we're going to start off a little bit about these draft pick situation. I know there was a post I seen earlier was saying that Boise State was RBU, and we all know Fresno State is QBU, but are those facts correct? I don't know, Brian, let's start off with that. He's our facts man. And then we also got D. Harv and Billy. They're going to be making sure they feed off with some more stats as we go. But give us some stats if you got some.
You know what? I was thinking about running back at Boise State. I think of Doug Martin, Jay Dyke, and of course, I know Boise State's Lord and Savior, Ashton Genty. 3 running backs in the 21st century. Because I started following Boise State in the 08, like when the good old Kellen Moore days, of course. I could probably talk about that. Hopefully.
You going in and out?
Yeah, he is. Oh,
I'm back. All right, we're good.
There's some music in the background, though. Somebody must be at a bar. Must be in a Boise State bar.
But when you think of Fresno State,
oh, Welch going in and out. I think he was going to say. I think what he's going to say when you think of Fresno State, you think that nothing but ballers come out of Fresno State.
Yeah,
that's what I think he was going to say before he cut off. Let me just start that conversation off. Go ahead, Brian. Continue.
but hey, you think of quarterbacks, you think of the Swing,
Right,
you think
you're
of our brothers, you think of you think of Marcus McMarion, the blue turf slayer of 18. I know our friends in Boise in the Treasure Valley don't want to think of that in 2018, but hey, and also you think of Jake Haener, and you know what? We'll see who the next quarterback will be this season. But there's kind of a difference in, hey, the quarterback QBU and RBU from the Treasure Valley to the San Joaquin Valley in California. Debate, gentlemen.
Here we go. Where do you want to start? All right, let's start with you guys. State. Let's start with Boise State. You're on the clock.
Yeah.
RBU.
You guys called RBU, so let's hear it. Let's hear your argument.
sure. Well, so I'll jump in. First off, I want to thank Bronco Man for bringing me on, and I'm glad to have royalty Bronco Blameyer here with us too. Of course, his uncle is the architect of our entire program. We'll just say that. But it's all about consistency, right? So great running backs have come from Fresno. There's no denying that, right? You've had a first rounder, even Ryan Matthews. That guy was fantastic. But it's about consistency. So since Doug Martin, we've had consistent running backs. I'm not saying we've sent every starting running back to the draft. But just with the collection of about 6 running backs, there's some names that don't get mentioned as much. Jeremy McNichols, he's running for the Washington Commanders. Alexander Madison has had his moments and has just been a star in Vegas. He's going to be running in Miami this year. And then Ashton Genty is just the latest, but with the just with the expectations that are being compared to Saquon Barkley. The expectations are high for him. I mean, he definitely has a high chance to disappoint, obviously, but no one is expecting that. No one's predicting that. So it's just about the consistency of how it's been since we've had the phenomenal running back in Doug Martin, and before him, Ian Johnson. He wasn't drafted, but he was fantastic in college. So just with that, and of course, just tagging along with the success of Boise State over the last 10, 15 years, it's really just been able to take on that title of RBU, which, by the way, I would say previously that was owned by San Diego State, not Fresno.
Wow, great points. Great points.
Wow.
I gotta say, I like that you bring up consistency because we're gonna have to go back until about the early '90s to establish ours. Well, you have your players like Lorenzo Neal, Ronnie Rivers Sr.
Oh yeah, Ronnie Rivers.
You have Michael Pittman. Then you're gonna follow that up with Ryan Matthews, like you mentioned. We're probably gonna have the most underrated person that we're gonna talk about this whole entire time is Robbie Rouse. Then we're gonna have Jordan Mims, Ronnie River Jr.
Let's not forget Dwayne Wright.
Dwayne Wright, right in there with everybody else.
Oh yeah, Dwayne. Mm-hmm.
So ours is
this is for the fans. I'm in the record books. This is for the fans.
But I do think that we've definitely established key positional players at our university too in the running back department. They matter. They're always putting up yards. And to keep our legacy going, I'm going to tell you, Brian Donaldson, if he lives up to half of what he's expected to, we're definitely going to be talking about him in these conversations in the future.
Well, I think there's a big difference between simply having a player that's part of your roster and part of your offense and being the core and focus of what your team produces. And when you look at Boise State, they have always had that consistent running back threat. Now, of course, they've always had great quarterbacks too, but the main focus of those offenses, even though the passing game has gotten a lot of the eyeballs, has been through the running game. Boise State, prior to 2021 and 2020, had a run of 1,000-yard running backs going all the way back to 2006. And if you take out the COVID year and then Andy Avalos' first year where our starting running back George Lonnie had a pretty bad injury, if you take out those 2 years, then Boise State actually has 18 straight years going back to 2006 of 1,000-yard running backs. And it's not just production either. It's also what they were able to actually accomplish while doing that. Because during that time, Boise State has one of the best winning records in all of college football. So it's not just about having a playmaker that's strong and in that position, but also a playmaker that's able to go up against strong competition, same competition that Fresno State has been facing. I mean, if you look back since 1996, Fresno State has 6 10-win seasons. Boise State only has 7 seasons where they didn't win 10 games. They have 19 seasons of 10-plus wins, and most of those were established through their consistent running back threat. And then the final thing, especially when we start using the term university, right? University, what does that mean? Well, it means an institution that is establishing you for the next level. And so in this case, for Boise State, being RBU, you look at their consistent record of putting guys into the NFL. Maybe they don't go in the first round every time. Ashton Genty did. Doug Martin did. But they put guys into the NFL. Doug Martin, he would have been, I think, a Hall of Famer if he hadn't suffered that injury in spring ball with Tampa Bay. I mean, his freshman season was incredible. 1,000-plus yards with a muscle hamster down there. Jay Ajayi, another player he's similar to me. He doesn't have a meniscus in his left knee. And that hobbled his NFL career. But he was fantastic in bursts for Miami and for the Eagles, and he was a draftee. And then current Boise State running backs, Boise State has 4 running backs currently on NFL rosters right now between Helani, Alexander Madison with the Miami Dolphins. Already McNichols has already been mentioned, and obviously Ashton Genty. So when you're talking about the terms RBU, you're not just talking about a school that has a player that they establish in a position, but a player that they base their offense off of, and that is a primary contributor to their success and to the next level.
I'd kind of like to jump in on that. I love the discussion about the running back U, Fresno State running back U, but on the bottom I see there Boise State running back U or Fresno State quarterback U, and I think the Bulldogs have had a long line of great running backs. just obviously like the like Boise State. And I really couldn't argue right now that Boise State isn't currently running back U. However, when I think back, going back to being a little kid, growing up, I consistently have heard Fresno State be quarterback U since the Kevin Sweeney days, right? And so I love how you mentioned, Bronco, that really the quarterback U, running back U is not really what you establish as a university in college. It's really what you develop and you bring into the NFL. And I mean, honestly, I think that is really what Fresno State's been about for as long as I can remember. Going back to the quarterbacks that we've developed, you're talking about putting quarterbacks in the league. We put Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the league. And I mean, we're all football fans here. You know, running backs are a crucial part of the game and everything. But to say that you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback that's come from your come out of one of your schools, I think, or I'm sorry, out of one of your schools, out of your school, just from imagine having a young son who was a quarterback who was looking at going to schools, and that coach comes in there and gets to say, hey man, not only have we put quarterbacks in the NFL, we put them in the playoffs and they've won Super Bowls. How bad do you want a ring, right? And I think that speaks volumes in recruiting a freshman, and that also speaks volumes in recruiting in the new NIL right now, where it's how you play in that final year before you get into the league. And so just to drop a few names, we have the Kevin Sweeney. I'm not sure if anyone's old enough to remember him. Trent Dilfer, though. Going back, obviously the Carr brothers, right? But just a few. Brand Slatter, Billy Bullock, right? Some big numbers that were put up. They both played in the NFL. And so I don't know. When I think of quarterback U, I think a lot of people around the country would think Fresno State, and they've thought that for a long time. And I think right now a lot of people are thinking running back U for Boise, and that's cool. But we've been quarterback U for a long time. So, yeah, that's what I got.
I think I'll agree with that, John. There's no denying it. I mean, look, if you ask Bronco Blameyer, if we've had great quarterbacks, we have. But there's definitely a translation into the draft that just has not carried the same talent that we've had. We've had pretty great talent at quarterback, but yeah, just it really hasn't been the same as what Fresno has experienced. And you got to wonder why. It's as if some of the offense is sometimes more focused around the quarterback there in Fresno, whereas as Bronco mentioned, we have an offense that centers around the run that opens up the pass. But that's been kind of the tradition, the line, the heritage of this offense through OCs. But I don't think there's any denying that claim as well. Definitely the most quarterbacks to go to the NFL in the current Mountain West and in the WAC. So I guess I definitely agree with that, but I'll pass it to anyone else.
If I can just talk to the Boise State quarterback situation, and you're right, we have had a history of exciting collegiate quarterbacks that break collegiate records. You think about Kellen Moore's. I mean, Brett Rippon did some incredible stuff here too, but they've struggled to then go and be consistent threats in the NFL. I mean, really, our only real NFL caliber type quarterback has been Brett Rippon, and he hasn't been exactly successful at the next level yet. I mean, there's signs that he will. I think the problem with Boise State, as when it comes to producing next level NFL caliber quarterbacks, is that Boise State focuses, I think, primarily on the cerebral aspect of the quarterback position. Boise State's offense is tremendously consistent going back 2 decades. If you go back and you look at the offenses that Chris Peterson was running at Boise State, or Dan Hawkins was running at Boise State, they're similar to what Boise State is running now, even with so many changes. Obviously, there's differences, but there's a pretty consistent Boise State offensive brand. And I think it calls for a pretty highly cerebral quarterback, but that doesn't always translate necessarily to the physical side of things. That was a big complaint made, or a criticism, I suppose, brought up in reference to Malachi Nelson, who obviously, incredible talent, former 5-star quarterback. Boise State fans were chomping at the bit when we got him, and they just wanted to see him on the field. But the impression was that he just didn't have not to say that he was stupid or anything like that. I'm certainly not trying to imply that, but just that wasn't his side of the game. His side of the game was more the physical side and the creator kind of side, and he just struggled to get a hold of the offense. Whereas a quarterback like Maddox Matson, who's not going to be an NFL guy, has successfully ran the Boise State offense, beaten out 2 other quarterbacks, and is now the starter for Boise State coming into this year. So I think you're right. I think when you look at Fresno State and you look at what they have produced, they have been able to attract some really high caliber, talented guys that have gone to the NFL level. Whereas Boise State also high caliber, talented guys, but it's a different focus. Whereas I think Fresno State is a little bit more of the traditional physique looks that they're going for, like most schools do. Whereas Boise State, they're looking always for they talk about this all the time, a very specific fit, not just in who they are on the field, but also off it. I'm not saying that Fresno State quarterbacks aren't great guys off the field as well, but it takes a very specific kind of player to come and play at Boise State, and that's not necessarily, at least at quarterback so far, hasn't always translated to the NFL.
I'm actually curious. Do you think that is? I'm asking the Boise State fans. I don't really know much about the size of the Boise State quarterbacks, but I mean, I could think of guys like Brandstatter. He wasn't the best quarterback, but an NFL scout would look at him and he's got the stuff you can't coach. The dude was like 6'5", like 215. You know what I mean? He could throw the ball like 70 yards. I would kind of think that Fresno State maybe has attracted more of those guys, whereas, like you said, Boise State kind of gets the scrapper. They get the guy they want, but he's the 5'8" guy who that's what I think of when I think of Boise State quarterbacks. I'm sorry,
Well, seeing it's like Kellen Moore, we all seen what he was able to do on the field, but transitioning to NFL, he didn't have the size to be successful, and it ruined his NFL career. So he transitioned to coaching, and he just like a Super Bowl title, the 2-time champs, the Chiefs.
So on that, I think Kellen Moore, he just had a very untimely injury. That ankle injury that he had, that was his chance. If that didn't happen, who knows how far he would have gone. I'm not going to say he was amazing, but injuries can make or just destroy your NFL career, and that caught him at a bad time.
And you know what, fellas, I wanted to add before we move on is we have to think about the alignment of our conferences too back then and moving forward, right? We talk about the WACs, talk about the Mountain West. I heard a lot of different style of play from the coordinators and the head coach. I mean, we all know back in the day, the WAC was pretty much players that came from other conferences like myself and other players. I was in Pac-10 back then. I came from Washington State. So most of the guys that came in Fresno State, we were either bounce backs from USC or somewhere like that. And the same with Bronco Nation. I remember guys who played JUCO with me, guys who were locked up, in prison and jail. And the next thing you know, they're, seriously. So we have to look at the development of that too, because I feel that with Fresno State and Boise State, the difference in the alignment and also the areas. I mean, Fresno State are going to get a lot more city type guys because of the cities that surround it, right? Fresno, San Francisco, LA, I can go on and on, right? Boise, perhaps you're competing with all these other, mountain type universities as well, right? That may steal some of your joy there. But what my gripe is, playing Boise, you're absolutely right, Boise fans, and also John, you're right. Fresno State, we've always had the prototypical type look-alike player. Like, that's just what it is. Boise State, the O-line and D-line was a little bit more smaller, but they were more stout, right? They were shorter, thicker on the bottom, but they were quicker. You know what I mean? That's just what it was. You go to Hawaii, they were bigger and slow. That was just the alignment of the WAC, but it has changed with the NIL and, that initiative. So how do y'all feel? And I hate to jump the gun, but how do y'all all feel about that? Do you feel like with the NIL that's going on right now, it can be a Boise or Fresno State fan, do you feel that's going to help recruiting, or do you feel it's going to hurt the tradition that has been developed over the years?
Do you mind, before we move to the NIL, just something you said that I think is a perfect comparison?
Mhm.
Fresno State, Boise State, 2001. We had Ryan Dinwiddie, and you guys
Right,
had
dude.
David Carr. One became a first-round draft pick in the NFL, and the other didn't end up working out, and now he's a head coach over in the CFL.
Mhm.
So, like, that's exactly the exact comparison that you're looking at
Mhm.
there. You had the
Mhm.
prototypical guy, but Boise State had the right guy for that time, and you had the right guy for the NFL time, right? It's a little bit of a different comparison. But yeah, sorry, I didn't want to cut off, but it's just
Oh no, that was good.
Well, and then
Yeah,
like
when it
another
comes to
thing I look
NIL,
at is, go ahead, Jason.
oh, hey, appreciate you. Hey, the thing about NIL, I'm telling you, us in the Green V section, definitely, we're all about it. We need to be all in on it. That's exactly what we're going for. We need to let these players know we might not have the deepest pockets when it comes to college sports, but we are all about you. We will do everything that we could possibly do to try to get you a little bit of something. We appreciate those guys. We want them to be here. We will show up. We're going to be there supporting them 100%. If that's NIL, NIL is going to be NIL. You're going to kind of either take it or leave it, but it's crucial. It's the way that the game's changing. You got to be involved in it. These players got to know that you're part of it. It's the way that it's moving forward. Green V, we're all about it.
I love it. Boise.
But like I was gonna say, look at Marcus McMarion. That guy was a baller, but then when it came to NFL time, he wasn't fit for it.
He didn't get the opportunity, and that's the biggest thing. Yeah, there's gonna be ballers from both universities. The thing is, the opportunity, man. Like certain players are really good in college. They can be really good in the NFL, but it's the system that drops them. And literally, it's the
Yeah, and
system. That's all it is. You got to be in the
everyone's
right
got to be
system.
given that opportunity.
Right.
We
Like
have
we have
we have
several players
no
from Boise in the draft right now that won't get picked, and hopefully they'll get their opportunity to show what they can really do, just like with Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as NIL, I think it's going to ruin the game of college. We're not going to have the Cinderella stories no more. And somebody from Boise or Fresno could go on, put out a killer season, and then teams like Alabama, USC is going to be like, oh, damn, that guy's really good. Let's give him $4 or $5 million. And then you lose the loyalty in your program and you can't build that bond with your team when you're too worried about who's going to come in and take who away with money.
We're not chasing those guys as it is. We want guys who want to be here and be part of Fresno State. We want people that are familiar with the culture here, familiar with our team, familiar with our town. They want to be here. And not only that, you may not get paid today, but I'm telling you, we have the most $100 million athletes playing in all professional sports as it is. So you got Paul George, you got
Aaron
you
Judge.
got
Aaron
Derek
Judge.
Carr, you've got Devontae Adams, and you got Aaron Judge. So if you want to be a professional athlete, you want to learn skills, you want to get something that's going to get you paid in the NFL, you're coming to Fresno State because we develop $100 million athletes.
I think there's a good point here, and I would actually disagree with you here on the NIL destroying college football. I think that the way that it's going, unchecked, unregulated, there are concerns. But I also think at the same time that you're seeing the strength of a Power 4 team is not in their starters, because we've seen throughout college football that great players will go everywhere. You got Diamond in the roughs, they get developed, Ashton Genty's, that kind of thing. The strength of a Power 4 team isn't in their starting lineup, it's in their depth. It's in the fact that they can roll out a second unit and a third unit and maybe even a fourth unit that's just as good as the group of 5 team they're playing. So by the time you get to the second half, that close game, that San Jose State versus USC close in the first half, and then they get blown out by the second half, that kind of situation happens because of the depth. NIL kills the depth for Power 4s. Because now you have all these second and third string players for Power 4 universities that go, okay, I could sit here on this bench and maybe in 2 years I'll get to play. Or I can go to a group of 5 team right now and be their starter and earn my paycheck right now while also building visibility, maybe come back to the Power 4, or maybe get that opportunity to build that resume, like you're saying, over Jason, build that resume and those skills to then go up to the NFL draft. So yeah, you're going to lose from time to time you're going to lose that top guy. Sometimes you get to keep him like we did with Ash and Genty, but other times you're going to lose that top player and he's going to go somewhere else. But the NIL era is all about which team can be quickest on their feet to then go and get the guys that, like you said, want to have that opportunity to come and play. And in the end, I think it's going to bring more parity to college football, which I know, the Paul Feinbaums and the talking heads at ESPN and all those guys, they hate that because they don't want parity. They want an elite group of teams that they can focus on and ignore everybody else. I think that NIL is actually going to bring more parity, not less, and it's actually going to make the game of college football more fun in the end.
That's a great point. I just want to jump in real quick. I can't remember. I seen recently that some 18-year-old quarterback at some university hasn't even played it down, was driving a Lamborghini, right? And I don't know. I remember the college days. I like 20 years ago, wasn't the starting quarterback in Miami driving a Lamborghini anyways. I mean, like, I don't know. That's the way I kind of look at it. And at least I'd rather it be out in the open than underneath the tables. Like we all knew it was, back in the day. Everybody knew, everybody knew what it was. It was like that. And honestly, I think we're in the wild, wild west of the NIL right now. I think after a certain amount of time, either through government regulation, through NCAA regulation, through some kind of regulation, or just the programs will figure it out. They will learn. Just like, I'm in sales, so you got to learn what's going to keep them there. You got to bring the value to your school. And I really think that the schools like Boise States, the Fresno States, how can you argue against the NIL right now when you guys literally just had a top 6 draft who was there forever? He could have gone to any school he wanted to and gotten paid a whole bunch of money. But there was something about Boise State that was developed there that he wanted to stay, right? And I think that the smaller schools will have to learn how to sell themselves like that. Like Jason saying, hey, we don't have the money, but we can build a culture. We can build a culture. And I don't know, but I feel like some kind of regulation is coming soon because it's nuts right now. What's up, Justin?
We see Justin sneaking on the show.
What's up?
Get ready.
He must have got tired of hearing everybody talk, so he popped on real quick.
Hey, before Justin's allowed to talk, he's got to eat his words about the Raiders not taking Genty.
Uh-oh.
We got that receipt on the page.
I just tuned in. But I could care less about whatever happened with Genty. That's for damn sure. I wanna weigh in on the NIL era too. I just got back from the quarterback club and we were talking about that for about 20 minutes. So it's pretty much just a continuation of that conversation. If you're looking at the top of the P4, I can understand the parity aspect of it because now Alabama is not winning it every year. Clemson's not winning it every year. Ohio State's not winning it every year. At the very top of the P4, you're going to get some parity. But if you're looking at the gap between the P4 and the G5, it's only widened. And for both of our programs, it's not a good thing, like at all. Having continuity in our program, it has never been more challenging, and it's going to continue to do that until, like what John said, when things and structure comes back and things change. We're going to be a year-to-year basis. Our teams, our rosters. We had a spring game a few weeks ago, and honestly, I could hardly even name a player on that field, and that's what it's coming to. So no, it doesn't bring us any closer to P4 whatsoever. It's way more challenging for our program. Genty is definitely the outlier in this whole thing. And also there's a lot of things that are not discussed. There's if there's a certain number that you hear that he got to stay at Boise State, you can times it by 2 or 3. I'm just telling you. Like, it's not, they don't have to tell us anything, right? He didn't stay there for peanuts and nickels, okay? And so this NIL era is the worst era of college football, in my opinion, by far, and it's not even close. And until we get back to I agree with the players should be compensated because so we were just looking at it just randomly. LSU profited $52 million last year, profited after expenses. And for the people in the press box to take all that revenue and divvy it up how they choose and not pay the players, I just don't agree with that. Like this, they're the ones quite literally putting their necks on the line for what? For the higher ups, the people who are 80 years old to just to profit off it every single year after year after year. I totally agree that the players should be compensated, but there needs to be structure. And I don't know if it's I think it needs to be on a conference basis, because that's who you're competing against. You're competing against teams and programs in your conference, and level of play should absolutely matter. I mean, if one program is spending X amount of dollars more on their roster than the bottom of that conference, then there's not going to be parity within that conference. I just think that we need structure. I don't think the NCAA is capable of it. I don't know who's going to step in and take control of it. But like John said, this is the Wild Wild West, and it is absolutely not good for either of our programs.
Well, go ahead, Bronco.
Yeah, I would counterpoint that a little bit. I think that, yes, at the very top level of college football, the very top 4 to 10 teams, there's always going to be that elite few that are just so much further ahead than everybody. But that's always been the case. I mean, that really has always been the case. That's not really going to change very much. The difference here, though, is that with a group of 5 team, they only have to pay out big time for 1 or 2 players. So they may not have the resources of a big Power 4 university, but they're only usually have 1 or 2 super elite next level guys anyway. Whereas a Power 4 roster, to keep everyone at the same level that a group of 5 team potentially could keep them at, they have to pay everybody. They have to pay every single star. You got Texas, where their donors are having to pay all the offensive linemen $50,000 a piece, every single offensive lineman, just to make sure that they don't get picked over. And that's the other thing here, is that it's not just the group of 5 getting picked over here. It's also the Power 4. Their players are being stolen. And now you got Power 4 coaches that are crying about the process. They were all fine with it when it was going their way, but now that it's not, now they don't like it so much. So it's everybody. So yeah, the very top level, the very, very elite level of college football, that's probably not going to change very much, and it hasn't anyway. But everybody else is going to have more opportunity and more parity. I'm not saying it's a perfect system. I agree that NIL is messed up right now. I think there needs to be new regulations. I think that the whole idea of NIL, where you now as a player can go out and be part of a commercial, or have somebody potentially pay for something for you because of who you are without getting yourself kicked out of college. Like, that was wrong. But now we've gone the complete other way, where now you have players that are being funded by booster club organizations just to play, and they're not doing anything. Yeah, they do like volunteer stuff, so it's not quote unquote pay to play, but it is. It's not like a business is paying this player. I mean, that's how it should be. It should be businesses can pay a player to be part of it. You should never have, and I'm not going to, Jason, you're working within the system as it is right now. I'm not calling you out. Boise State has a similar system that I'm fully in support of in the current regs. But that's how it should be. It should be players should be allowed to go and advertise themselves, but you shouldn't have, third-party group collectives being allowed to pay players. But that's an off tangent. I don't have any control over that. But my main point is I agree that the NIL system does have its ups and downs, but I think people overreact. I think that Boise State has done well in it. I think Fresno State can, especially with their move to the Pac-12 and more structured competition, not necessarily like former Pac-12 level, but up at the top level of the group of 5. And you take advantage of the team that you have in the moment. And yeah, if you do well, your best players will be stolen away potentially. But because you did well, you're now presenting yourself as a team players want to go to. Let's look at Malik Sherrod, one of Fresno State's best running backs. Now he's come over to Boise State because of what they did last year. So
I'm sorry,
that kind of system, you may lose some guys, but you're also going to attract new ones to your program. And at the end of the day, everybody, except for very few teams, are dealing with the same problems. That roster turnover, just like you said.
Okay, but
who's Malik Sherrod?
I mispronounced his name. I'm terrible. With name
I don't
pronunciation.
I don't know who that is. Anyways,
Hey, I
Okay,
want to hear.
my thing is this.
Go ahead, Justin. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, so there's always going to be, until they change the playoff rule, there's always going to be one team from the group of 5 that goes to the playoffs, right? So you guys were that team last year. And I mean, you guys haven't beat a team yet. You guys haven't beat a P4 team since 2019, first off, right? So I think it's way too early to say that you guys have had success or you guys have had long-term success in the NIL era just because of last season. I mean, it's way too early to determine your guys' success. I mean, you guys have already had players picked off of this roster from last year. So to sit here and I'm not saying that you're ignoring the challenges, because you're not, but the challenges outweigh everything else. Like, you're not able to keep your players. Like, I mean, I'm not going to talk about your players, but you know the players that have jumped in the portal. Our players have jumped in the portal as well. And this is every single season, right? Like, you can't sit here and recruit a kid out of high school, develop that same kid, and have him in your program for 3 to 4 years and reap the benefits of, your scouts and, your coaching staff, because also your coaching staff might be gone. I mean, in a year or two. That's just kind of how it's been going. Now, it's like, if any team in the P4 wanted your player, he's gone. Now, you can say whatever you want about Ashton Genty, but if the number was right, he would not have been on your team last year.
That's false.
It's just facts.
False.
That's just facts.
He had $1 million offers. He stayed at Boise State.
I guarantee you, first off, the 2023 season for Ashton Genty was not all world. Okay. If Ashton Genty came back this next season, the number that he reportedly got to leave Boise State would be times 5, if not more. You guys would not be able to pay him that, and he's not going to stick around.
Boise State didn't pay him what he got offered in the portal anyway. They paid him 1/10 of what he got offered, and he stayed just so he had something. But he stayed because of the culture and because he wanted to build himself for the NFL, and it paid off for the first-round draft pick.
My point is that his 23 season did not get the offer. The offer that he got was maybe $1 million, maybe, I don't know. And what you guys paid him, I guarantee you guys match whatever that offer was. They can say whatever they want about 300,000 and a car or whatever else. They don't have to tell you guys anything. So you guys didn't keep him because of your culture, or because the coach has Christ in his heart. Okay, you didn't keep him because of that. All right, you paid the man what other teams were going to pay him. Period. Point blank. I don't care what the reports are. It doesn't even matter, because they don't have to tell you nothing, and they didn't. But you'll eat it up. I see 1, 2, 3 of you that will eat it up. Whatever they tell you, you'll eat it up. You'll eat it up with the smirk on your face too. Whatever they said, times it by 4.
You act like
That's
you
what
know more
Ashton
about our
Genty got.
program than we do, when in reality you don't know jack shit. You put more focus on our team than you do your own.
You just take what they tell you in the reports and you eat it up.
I do want to jump in and say that there is something that Justin is right, that there is not regulation around the reporting of the money.
Yeah, I was curious about it. Is that a real thing? Like,
I mean,
they can tell them they're paying him $1 and really pay him.
I mean, how about this? Let me just say this. It would be a hell of a lie for everyone to be on board to orchestrate the numbers that were shared surrounding Ashton Genty on what he was offered and what he was paid. I mean, like, this would be, there is no way it would have held. It would have been debunked in the media, and we have a great media ecosystem here in Boise. This would have been uncovered. But Justin is right. There is no law or regulation that requires them to report this, and it's often reported nearly immediately when these big name players go sign with the new team. Their NIL deal gets gets published, but it's not. It's because that information is released by the financier or by the financier or by the affiliation, but not because that they're legally obligated to.
Well, I'll say this. All right. When I was at Fresno State, I had a $750 scholarship check. I stayed in an apartment that was barely enough to even survive. You talking about Dwayne Wright prime? I would have took an NIL deal. Point blank. I don't care what school I was at. Somebody would have came to me with $10,000 in 2004, 2003, 10,000. I would have been gone. So no matter what we say, we can say whatever we want to. But when you have a family or when you're just coming and you're playing ball and you know what your worth is, right? Like Genty know what his worth is. Ryan Matthews back in the day, maybe after me or whoever, you gotta know what your worth is after your time goes, right? There was no money back then, and NCAA had everybody around the neck. So now what we're seeing is, how do we keep players at our school? I'm gonna be the first to say Fresno State has one of the best traditions out there. I'm not putting down Boise, but I'm saying it from experience, and I have some boys that play for Boise. The difference between Fresno State and Boise, like we've been talking about, if I am a prototypical running back coming out of high school, I have 3 offers. I have one from UCLA, one from Fresno State, one from Boise. UCLA says, I don't think we're going to take you. Fresno State says, hey, man, we just put out 2-3 number 1 quarterback draft picks. We passed the ball a lot, and we put out 2 number 1 tackles. Where do you think I'm going? I'm going to Fresno State. Regardless of what Boise has done and went to Fiesta, that doesn't matter because I'm a kid that wants to make it to the NFL. That's the argument. When it comes to the NIL, I think it's a great thing for the athletes. I am 100% believer. I want my own son to be able to have an NIL deal as well. I think our peers, I think our kids at both universities, I think it's a great thing. What I do hate about it is, yes, when a big P5 university come through and your kid has one good year, right, has 1,000 yards, passes for 600 yards, whatever that may be, they're going to come and they're going to flash them real nice to our students, right? They're going to give them a $20,000 check and say, hey, man, just come on over, take a trip, bring your family. They're going to see all this traditional stuff they seen, like us growing up with the Tennessees and all this great stuff, and they're going to sign. And they're going to be screwed because they're going to go over there and realize that there are 20 more players that look just like you. So the NIL initiatives needs to stay strong at our universities right now. We need to build up this money. Our sections, Fresno State, the Green V section right now is hot. That's just what it is. And that's what's going to keep a lot of student athletes in the Valley. It's going to keep a lot of student athletes there. Boise, I played at your stadium, man. It's lit. Like, I love playing at Boise, when I played. But it's not a place where a San Diego kid wants to freaking go to college. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not gonna go to Boise State from San Diego or LA or Las Vegas or Florida and go to Boise State. I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there. Maybe vice versa for Fresno. But that's the reality, fellas. I think we're all sleeping on times. Like, it's all about the money. We all know that. It's all about the money. We can sugarcoat it and say whatever we want, but it's all about the money. Period.
So what's happening is you're seeing seniors go out. It's their last year. They played where they wanted and they stuck with a program that really that agreed with them. But then their senior year, they're having either realizations or conversations that this is your last year to go get paid because you're probably not going to the NFL. That's really hard to fight, and that's honestly what's happened to us mostly this season.
Bingo.
Mostly seniors.
Yes, sir. You hit it. Bingo. Wow. Bingo. That's exactly what it is.
I think that's going to inevitably prove itself that's going to end up being what backfires on you because you're going to leave some stability with your position. You've established yourself with this university. The university knows how to use you, and you're going to go and take a gamble over there for a little bit of cash. Which hey, money is the biggest motivator. I get that. All right, but you're going to go over there, and then you're going to burn your entire senior year, and that's going to be the memory and experience that you live with for the rest of your life.
With no degree. Because they said that if you're in the portal, don't you have to drop out of school when you're in the portal? That's what I believe, right? You have to drop out of school, and then you may not even be able to enroll back into that university. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Plus, if you leave Fresno State, you're going to miss out on all those great fights in the stands. Not every school gives that.
You know,
You know what I was? Hold on.
I wasn't going to go there, but I'm
I was
glad
trying to
somebody else
upload this.
did.
It's my background, by the way. There's I won't show it.
Happens, man.
Welch had something he wanted to bring up because he had his hand.
Hey, hold on. We fight each other. You guys fight children and women. So there you go.
Hey, bro, like I told you the other day, how do you know 100% that was a female? Did you check the birth certificate? Did you say, hey, let me check that birth certificate to verify that you're a female? Because nowadays, a kid could be born as a boy named Lewis. By the time he's 17, he's now a Leslie. So
okay. Well, then you guys fight trans people. Okay, that's even worse. Whatever.
So we're gonna reel it back in because we still got some people watching, and I still have a nice government job that I take care of a lot of. But we're going to. Welch had something that he wanted to bring up real quick, and let's see what he has to say, and then we'll move on.
You brought up a good point there, Dwayne, a little bit earlier about it being an arms race for NIL funds. I know, especially here at Fresno State, the Bulldog Bread is having that back nine challenge at Valley Children's Stadium, that golf tournament, be able to be kind of a top golf environment. I think that's really important. I think also, I don't know what Boise State's doing for NIL funds. I know they're probably getting the potato farmers to chip in and be able to fund the NIL fund. Is there anything else that Boise State's doing to get NIL funds, like besides what we're doing here in the Valley?
So the biggest initiative that's kind of really kicked off this year is the head coach. He's bringing in his family to do just cold calling to businesses around the state, but it's kind of got that celebrity effect to it, and it's been able to build up a lot of funds. Aside from the collectives that they're doing some other things, I'll give it back to Bronco, but that's been the biggest one that's been new and different this year. Is the head coach is taking the initiative, and they are spending on days that they're not running practice 4 and 5 hours making calls. And then his brother, he's a popular firefighter here in town. He's making calls as well, and they were saying that on a lot of days they're making 40 and 50 calls a day each.
Yeah, you've got great crowdsourcing through the Horseshoe Collective. They're I believe similar to what you're doing over there with the Green V. So there's that opportunity as well. But Boise State actually has some really pretty deep-pocketed investors as well. They have a lot of former players that have gone off and done great things in the NFL. A lot of alumni that have left and done some very impressive things. I mean, Jeremiah Dickey, outside the NIL range, kind of shows the economic footprint that Boise State has, which extends even beyond Idaho, where he's bringing in $1 million donations left and right. I mean, his fundraising right now, I believe, is top in the group of 5 right now when it comes to just donation bases anyway. So Boise State, I mean, Melaleuca is donating, $1 million video screen boards. And I know that's not NIL, but it does show the impact and the reach Boise State has. I mean, when you talk about national brands, Boise State has the best national brand in the group of 5, and one of the best national brands in all of college football. When you look at their viewership metrics and you look at their brand awareness, Boise State's able to bring in NIL and also support for their institutions as well, from not just within Idaho but also outside. So a lot of people make fun of the potato farmers, whatever, and we also have a massive cattle basis as well. I think McDonald's has like is 80% or something. That was a stat I read one time. But so Boise State actually has quite deep pockets, and that showed when they were able to go out and get Genty. Now they're not going to be able to shell out all of that every time that they have a player come through, but they've actually done pretty well when it comes to the NIL side of things.
So I've had certain conversations about it. I haven't gotten down to all the details on it. If you guys know, then that'd be cool to hear. But Fresno State, we battle against our own state when it comes to funds. I mean, we're basically strangled by our own state to have funds that other programs get in other states. And from my understanding is that it's been the exact opposite when it comes to Boise and the state of Idaho. So you guys have like you guys have like 3 legs up on us when it comes to stuff like that. So we're not only battling, like things that are inside of our program, but we're strangled by decisions that have already been made that are basically out of our control. So, I mean, we're battling it from all sides. But I want to not to take it back the Genty thing, but I want to ask you though. So, he's obviously the best running back in the country. I'll give him that. The guy is an absolute stud, right? Going into this season though, what was he ranked on a national level as far as running backs go?
Depended on where you looked. I think PFF had him ranked as second or third, behind old Drink and Drive over at Oklahoma State. So, I think it depended on who exactly you were looking at, but he was top 4 in the country, not just at Boise State, and 1 to 3 depending on the website.
I'm gonna check that, but I think it was closer to 5 or 6 because I remember seeing some draft boards like before the season had started, or just maybe ranking running backs going into the college football season, and he was around 5 or 6, which is great, right? But going back to the argument, it's like, what would the 5th or 6th ranked running back get in an NIL deal? I don't know. I mean, my guess would be around $1 million. That's just a guess.
Throw a dart at a dartboard. We never know at this point.
I really don't know. I'm just guessing. But now I say all that to say, if you had to stay 4 years or whatever, if you had to stay until the end of your senior year in college, and now he's the best running back in the country, right? Now, what is that worth? Because you guys wouldn't be able to pay that. But the 5th or 6th best player in the country or running back in the country, you guys could probably match that. You could figure it out. Just like you're saying, all those donations that you're getting. You could easily figure it out. You said somebody donated $1 million. Well, that's probably what Texas offered Genty to be the 5th or 6th best running back in the country to start the year. But if it was now, if he stayed now, that's going to be north of 5 million for sure that, and probably closer to 10. He's probably going to get, he would probably get, what's the kid, the Colorado receiver, whatever his name is.
Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter.
Yeah,
he's gonna get Hunter type numbers. He's gonna get close to 10 million to play next season if he stayed in college. Like, there is no way. I mean, if you do it, all power to you. But more than likely, you guys would not be able to match that, and he would go. And that's what we're dealing with. You guys kept him because you could match the number, right? He wasn't offered 1.1, and you guys gave him 300. Okay, that math does not add up. It just didn't happen.
Sure. So okay. I mean, there was inside conversations about it, and it was that, look, he wants to stay here. He's getting offers, but he's not staying here for free. So what do you guys got? And they scrounged up what they, a lot of the pots, a lot of the collectives, and honestly, that was a high number for us when we gave him the cash of $300,000 plus the house. I know someone who knows the owner of the house that was essentially leased to him for free, and then the kind of the coupon for one free car, which he was able to turn in and kind of pick what he wanted up to a limit. And so those things were offered, but like, that was stretching it. Like, for one player, that was us just really trying to make it all work for one guy. So his family said he's not staying for pennies and nickels, like you said, but he had to get something. But the difference here is that he was promised that the program and the offense would be centered around him to then put him onto the trajectory of where he ended up today. That was the promise, that they were going to have the program surround him. That's not going to happen, like, unless we get someone else of similar star power. That's not going to be the same conversation. That same conversation isn't being happened with like Maddox Madsen or just any player, half of the talent that Genty has. And so he had that special situation that everyone was going to talk about him. Like, the university created a campaign for him. They put out actual materials and media for him before the season even started. So they committed to him. and they followed through with a promise on that, knowing that the goal was going to be for the NFL. Without, I think that could be replicated elsewhere, but it's got to be, where the entire school and the organization can surround one player. That's doable. We can't do that with 5 players on a team. We can. I don't even know if we can do it with 3.
He had an offer of 1.1 and he stayed for 300. Is that what I'm hearing?
He stayed for 300 plus free living expenses for 12 months plus a free car, which I believe he still has.
And was the 1.1 in California, or because that would matter?
It does not. I don't think that was. They were.
I don't know.
Dad was saying that he was they were getting called for.
I think
they
that's
said
insane.
multi-million.
You're going to think he stayed for 30% of an offer.
No, sure.
Dwayne,
Right.
Dwayne Wright here just said
Look
that
at the payoff. Look
10
at what the
grand he
payoff
would have
was.
left.
No, you tell me.
Dwayne,
John, tell me this. How much, John? How much is he going to sign for tonight? Tell me that.
I don't have any idea.
You don't know? You don't know
like,
how much you get signed for? It's between 34 and
dude,
$40 million.
I'm sorry, my life doesn't revolve
Is he
around-
not the type of player? Is he
But
not the
that's-
type of player that could have went to Texas and got drafted number 6
Absolutely.
overall or something?
No. You goes to
Absolutely not. I've been playing running back my whole life at a high level. Absolutely not. He fed into a system. He fit into a system. All right. Genty fit perfectly into a system which worked at Boise State. That's what I mentioned earlier. All the running backs that came through Fresno State, we fit into a certain system with other ballers. So you have a person like, let's say, David Carr. You have a person like, okay, I'll just bring up my offense. You have myself, Paul Penninger, right? He's an all preliminary passer at Fresno State. Y'all remember Paul Penninger, a big time passer, but you have another running back behind him. You have a receiver by the name of Bernard Variant. You have another receiver by the, so like, how can that NIL back then work? Because I'm going to tell you right now, the university would have been broke because there's no way that you're going to be able to fit all of these players into a system. And that's what I mentioned. Players are great in college. We're all great in college. When you get to the NFL, there's teams that just draft you just to draft for the further years. So not saying Genty is not going to be a baller because he is, but we all know how the Raiders work. They do this every other year. This is what they do.
So,
you right?
So I'll give some credit. Hold
on, Justin. I have to make a point real quick. So Genty is going to be a baller regardless. He's what, 5'8.5", 211 pounds, whatever that is. That's Barry Sanders all day, every day. You go to the Raiders, they have no line that will be able to protect him in that type of system. They just switched a whole new head coach, right? That young man need to get his money. He needs to train. He needs to stay healthy as much as he can, right? And hopefully there's a system that's going to help him later on. And I'm telling you how it works. Boise State football is not built for a preliminary running back for all 4 years. You're just not. So when that gentleman decided he wanted to stay, he stayed. Yes, I'm going to agree because he loved the program. And he had a house, bro. Like, he's what, 22 years old? He had a house.
21.
You give a kid,
21.
okay, 21. You give a kid a token or a free car, like you give him $300,000. Like, you guys are like, you got to think about this stuff. Okay, he maybe not gonna get $1 million. $300,000 coming from probably nothing. I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna work hard as hell and I'm gonna become the best player regardless because I'm getting paid a lot of money. So now I don't have to worry about the things a regular student have to worry about. I can work, chill, work out, go play, work hard at practice, lay back, chill, work out, go to class, maybe get some good grades. But look, I'm already a $300,000 man. And now week 1 is coming. I have 250 yards because I know I have a big fat check. So I'm going to work even harder. Next week, oh man, no, I'm telling you how the mindset is as a student athlete. This is the thing that separates a lot of athletes because the NIL is missing a lot of key athletes right now that's hurting in high school. It's hurting high school players right now. Some of our kids are in high school. They will not be able to get a scholarship. They're going to go JUCO, which is fine, right? And then they're going to live the NIL journey through JUCO, and it's not going to happen. So yes, I feel that the NIL is great. I love it when you're a preliminary player. But what if you're a guy that has to go to Boise State? Or what if you're a kid that lives in a valley and have to go to Fresno State and you can't get an NIL, right? And another gentleman come in. How would that affect your program? That's what I want to know. What happens with those kids? What happened to the normal Boise kids when I used to get off the bus and laugh like, oh man, ain't no way I'm about to get tackled by this guy. What about those kids? Are they still there at Boise? Are they still at Fresno State?
Yeah.
So a couple things that I would say, kind of based on what you just said, it would be funny if we all had to recruit our own area. I just want to see that. Just give me 5 years of that. Let's see what each program would be. If Boise only could recruit out of Idaho and Fresno could only recruit the Valley, let's just see what that looks like. That would be hilarious. But to finish the conversation that we were having, I think it would be selling Genty short if we said that he couldn't go to another program and still be the number 6 overall pick. I mean, I think just all respect, like
he's a great player. He's an awesome player.
I think he's the best prospect that we've seen since Saquon, to be honest with you. And Saquon went number 2 overall, and it was reported that Texas was the team that wanted Genty right before this season. Texas just put Bijan Robinson in the NFL, and I think Bijan went number 6 overall. So to say that Genty couldn't go to that university and do the same thing, I think it's selling him a little bit short because he really is a great talent. But I'll just finish it with this: like you cannot take the numbers that they put in the media and act like it's the Bible. Like they're not going to tell you they're just going to tell you what they think that you need to know, and you can run with it or you can. It doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter. But I don't think that Boise, if he's not, of course, but if Genty was going to stay again another year, I don't see how Boise keeps him. Like that number is way too big, and that's what we're dealing with going back to the NIL era, and whether it's good or bad for the G5. It's absolutely terrible. It's not bad. It's terrible for us. Awful. It's an awful era of college football.
There, I think you downplay the loyalty on these players because Avalos' last year, over half of this team had talked about walking away because of how he ran that program into the ground. And then you get somebody in like Danielson who brought the team back together. He talked Genty into staying. He talked Matt Lauder into staying. So I think you downplay the loyalty in these kids too.
I mean, that's fine, but like we're not talking about the elite of the elite. Like Lauder could probably he's getting a decent amount from you guys, but nobody's coming knocking on his door to steal him away. And I'm sure that you guys are matching that too. Like Genty is a generational guy. He's honestly separate in this conversation. Right. Like if you want to move beyond him, let's talk about Simpson. Let's talk about the receiver the year before who went to TCU. You guys are not you guys are affected by this too. I mean, it's just the reality of what we're all dealing with.
I will agree that we all are affected, but Eric McAllister, the receiver who transferred to TCU, told me to my face after the last game in Fresno that because of Avalos, he was out. He didn't want anything to do with this program no more, and so he left. And it just so happened that they ended up at TCU together, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of interaction with them because he's on the offensive side and Avalos is defensive side.
I'm happy to hear
it. It really doesn't matter what the reason is. Like
I've even seen McAllister on live Instagram and Twitter feeds saying, fuck Avalos. He's a POS. I don't want anything to do with them, but I have to because he's defensive coordinator here.
Well, that's pretty much all players when they get pissed off as coaches, though. That's what they do.
Well, I think to sum up NIL, I mean, regardless, we have always had challenges, no matter what school it is, Fresno, Boise. I mean, we have talent all around us that has not gone to Fresno State, homegrown, less than 10 miles away from the stadium. You've been born and raised, and you still leave. So, I mean, we've always had the same problems. It's not going to change because of NIL, totally. I mean, you're going to have your challenges with that, but we're going to have to adapt, and that's just the end of the story. We're playing Pac-12 ball. It's going to have to happen. things are going to fall into line. We've always had to find a way to be successful. Trying to get players from these other teams. It always ends up happening. You just got to develop what you got. We're going to continue to do that. I think both of our programs are going to continue to see success. I think the Pac-12 switch is what's going to be the driving factor. We're going to have our gold ticket with that. From there, it's up for grabs. No matter the NIL, you show up, you got to have heart. You're going to win it or you're going to lose it. It's at the end of the day, it's what you bring to the table, and you just got to suck it up and bring it.
That's a great point.
Justin, in this hypothetical world, do we get to keep Taysom Hill if we're just recruiting our area? Because I'd go for that. That might actually work. But
you would,
Taysom
you
Hill,
would lose the other four players that you had on your roster from Idaho.
You don't want to play.
I don't know about that one. I don't think that's a good. Yeah, that's pretty bad right there.
But anyhow, in answer, Dwayne, to your question, do we get to keep the little guys as well? I think that all goes down to the culture of the program. What do they emphasize? And I think that there are some schools out there that the emphasis is on, what can you make of yourself? But I think when you talk about at least teams like Boise State, I can't speak to the culture at Fresno State. I think teams like Boise State, there's a huge emphasis on building the person off the field. And so, there's guys on this roster that are going to come in and they're going to make nothing, or they may make a little bit. Boise State does have an actual NIL program as part of the school that they try to distribute so that every player is trying to make something. But, there might be guys that are coming in and they're not going to make the JT money. But you're going to have guys that I'm hearing myself on
yeah, so we have a kickback.
So with those guys, they still get something out of this program because they get to be part of a winning culture, and that's huge. I mean, at the end of the day, NIL, money getting thrown around, at the end of the day, players want to come and win. They are in this sport not because of money. They're in this sport because they're competitors. Money's part of it. Being the best competitor you are gets you the most money, and there's a factor to that. But I'm sure you can speak to this as well, that players come to play. They come to compete. And being part of a program that wins, even if you're not making as much, is a big factor. And so you get to be part of a winning program. And then at Boise State, obviously, with Spencer Danielson and his huge emphasis on developing the character of the person off the field and those interpersonal relationships as well, and the spiritual side as well, which is such a huge emphasis with him. I was just talking to a recruit yesterday. He's going to come in and play DB for us. And he said the biggest reason that he chose Boise State was because he had dozens of schools hit him. He's transferred coming over from Eastern Washington. He said he had dozens of schools hit him up, and Boise State was the only one that he went interviewed with that they actually brought up faith in the interview process, that they were willing to talk about God during the interview process.
Yes.
He said that for him was the biggest selling factor for Boise State. And so, there's going to be something for those guys that don't make the big buck as well. And I think it's just going to come down to the culture.
Boise's a state school, right? It receives state funds?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Just checking.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Yeah.
It's also a school with free speech too. I mean, it's a unique signature, right? Like it or hate it, it is being used. It is an identity right now, and it has proven to work. It has not. It hasn't steered any players away. At least that's being shared on any media of, I don't want to be around that culture. I don't want to. I'm not religious. I reject that, and I want to. I not be around it. It's being pretty widely accepted, and I think it's been a really powerful force right now, especially in the G5.
Well, and freedom of speech and freedom of religion are a core fundamental part of being an American, and a state school is a representation.
So is separation of church and state.
And the
separation
and the
of church
Supreme
and
Court
state.
would back that up as well. Separation of church and state goes down to the institutional level, not to the individual level, and you're totally welcome to have.
Yeah, you're talking about the institution of Boise State.
He's not forcing anything on anybody.
No. Yeah, so Boise State is not backing that and institutionalizing it. It is just a head coach talking and having conversations with players. There's not a special church program for it. There is a church on campus, and they go and they get to participate with that. But it is not an effort that's totally backed and even funded or sanctioned by the university.
Well, I will say too, I mean, there's going to be people here in the Central Valley that do have faith and do actually live that life and present that themselves. I think that the Carr brothers themselves are an excellent example of that. There is a large faith-based movement here in the Central Valley. So we're not your LAs, we're not your San Franciscos. A lot of people just lump us up and just kind of go with it because they hear the state of California. But you're going to have a voice here too. So I mean, if those are things that drive people and make their decision over here, I mean, the Central Valley is the place where you want to be if that's what you're looking for in California. And we have quality people, we have quality character people. You know, your Aaron Judges, your Carr brothers. I mean, it just goes on and on. You want to do a deep dive into the character and quality of a Fresno State athlete. I mean, they're all there. It's not a secret.
Yeah, now I'm glad you guys are bringing all this up because you sound like recruiters right now. That's excellent. We have some college young man that's on here, but I want to hear from our elders of the group. Let's hear from D. Harv and Billy real quick because I know they've been like, man, we always talk Fresno State, Boise, or Fresno State all the time. But how does it look for you two from the outside looking in? Because I know D. Harv is in Florida and Billy is in San Diego, but you know, how does it look from you guys from the outside in? Give us a little bit of story or backing of what the Fresno State and Boise State rivalry looks like from your perspective.
From my perspective, y'all crazy. But I like that. I love it, man. I want to go to one of those games.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Going down.
I got a ticket for you.
Boise in November, and I got your ticket. I already offered Dwayne one, so you come to Boise, and I'll get your ticket.
Well, we all going. We going.
Hey, I need to put my ref hat on, but
let's do a live show
in between both of y'all.
Hell yeah! You better be coming too, John.
Just get a split.
I'll make it out there.
Bronco, man.
Yeah, we got to get out there.
I have to be like this.
I'm sure the fans will love for us to do a show either the night before at the hotel or something, but I think we need to do that, y'all. I think we need to bring the whole DB out, the whole Bronco Nation, and just go stupid out there. I think we should do that.
I don't think Richard will be available for a post-game show, so let's do a pre-game show. He's going to be crying.
He going to run away.
Well, we've seen what happened last time Boise played Fresno and Boise in the regular season. You were down like this, up like this, biting your bottom lip. We couldn't get a hold of you after the game.
You
better not be like that in November either. We see what happened after the Mountain West Championship game. You scooted along. That ain't allowed in November.
We got your back, Justin.
You make up your own narrative.
Hey, so let's hear from Billy real quick. I want to hear from Coach Billy and see what his perspective is. Thank you, DR, for sharing. But Coach Billy, what about you? What's your whole perspective?
Man, I think it's healthy, man. It kind of brings back some old school type values though, because you know, like the SC, you know, UCLA, like the even with us, Dwayne, you know, growing up here in San Diego with the at the high school level with Lincoln and Morris. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that right there. You can see the support that they get from their fans, you know, and that competition. That's great for it though. That's great for both colleges, you know, to have that. So hey, I love it. I love it.
I love it too, and I'm definitely gonna fly out there because it's going down. We definitely having a show. Hey, look, we want to come. Hey, Justin. Hey, Jason. Hey, look, John. We coming out there. We going out there.
Over, man. I got your ticket already.
I'm gonna have to wear. See, look, we ready. We out there. November 1st.
November what?
November 1st.
It's going to be a rough day for old Watson. Whoa. I'm calling her right now. You ain't ready for what's coming. You ain't ready.
3 in a row.
Wow. So fellas, we got about 5.5 minutes before we close the show. But if there's anything you want, if there is a recruit out there and he's listening, or she's listening, or whoever is listening for your program, we're going to go through one by one, and Welch is going to close it out before we introduce our shoe scholarship player this week, this month. I'm going to go one by one down the screen, and if there's a recruit, right, listening, we want to know why should we come to your university. And I'm going to start with you. Now I'm going to say Bronco Man for last. I'm going to start with Bronco. Let's go.
All right. Well, I I'd say that the main reason you come to Boise State is you come to be a winner. You know, Boise State has that history of success. We talked about all those winning seasons. Yeah, they went through a rough patch there with Andy Avalos. Justin's trying to bring up those 2 wins. Wins while Andy Avalos was here don't count, by the way. Just want to make that clear. But Boise State is back on that path to success. Spencer Danielson, the culture that he's brought into the locker room, reestablishing those true blue-collar work ethic values that has made Boise State so strong in the past. All of those things are what makes Boise State an incredible place. You were talking about maybe not wanting to come to the Boise State area. Boise State is Boise is a beautiful city. I'm a military brat. I've lived in, I think, 19 homes in my 28 years so far, and almost every part of the country, and I have never found a place like Boise, Idaho that compares. So if you want to come to a place that's got a strong community, have passionate fans, that still puts you on the national spotlight, but still gives you that opportunity to present yourself as you are without being pressured into something or a culture that is that's bigger than maybe you're expecting. Boise State's got all those opportunities. They blend well with both the small time and the big time together into a perfect blend. So Boise State's the place for you to go.
Man, you killed that. They need to hire you. All right. Next up, we're going to Bulldog Land. John, let's go. Let's hear it.
Oh, what's going on? All right. Well, if I had anything to say to a young recruit, I mean, I would just say let's look at the tradition of Fresno State. Let's look at what we produced. Taking a look around the valley, all the opportunities you would have, all the agriculture, all the healthcare. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities here in Fresno. And then just one, you'd be a student athlete first, right? And then just the development of talent that we have proven. If you're talking football, if I'm sitting in front of, like Dwayne said, if I'm sitting in front of some kid's family, I'm looking them dead square in the eyes and saying, we're not just going to develop some kid and yes, we're going to get him his degree, but our goal here as a program is to develop a man who's going to go enter the NFL and really be able to earn a paycheck, earn a living, and that's the dream. I think a lot of kids, when they are playing football, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody here had the dream of playing, at some level, right? And to be able to say that our tradition is putting young men in the NFL, I think that's all it has to say. And then looking at what we're starting, looking at the past, looking at what's moving forward with Fresno, with this green V, with what we got going to Valley Children's Stadium, I mean, it's just going to be electrifying.
Man, awesome. Thank you. Kip.
The story was written tonight, right? It came to a climax tonight. Ashton Genty had the opportunity to leave and go, as they say, chase that bag, but he wanted to leave a legacy, and he did just that. Not just a legacy of his name and his records. He left an endowed scholarship at this university. He is actually giving back to the students that want to follow in his footsteps. This is, the actual passion here is real. There, and the motivation for this coaching staff to focus on young men, as he says, to build them into better leaders, better fathers, is really important. That is a core value here, and it translates to hard work on the field, as Bronco listed. So the story was written tonight, and you have to believe that inspired that inspired young kids to follow in Ashton's footsteps. So the recruiting waves of success will come from what Ashton capitalized on tonight.
Awesome, man. Look, hey, if I was a kid right now, I'll probably still go to Fresno State. But I'm just messing around with y'all, man. Look, we're gonna go to Big J. Jay, go ahead and let us know why Fresno State is such a great university.
Hey, bottom line, Fresno, the state's exactly where you need to be. We have Olympians. We have softball world champions. We got baseball world champions. We got $100 million athletes. We got Deron Bland. He's going to step up and get paid next. It doesn't matter what sport you come when you come over here. Right now, our weakest program, basketball, if you want to build something special, come to Fresno State. We're going to build it like we have every other program. You're going to have a great scenery. We got Yosemite. That's right in our backyard. You could be anywhere in the state of California and back in the same day. So you're going to get the California experience. Fresno State's where you want to be. If you're from the Valley, you were born and raised over here, come and play for your family. Come and play for this people that support you. Be here, be part of something special. Get your name up on the wall at Valley Children's Stadium where it belongs.
Man,
I
all
like
right.
it. I'm going there.
Well, look, fellas, we got our last two, and that's why we designed it. We got our last two. We're going to start with Bronco Man, and then we're going to close it with Justin, and then Bryan Welch is going to take us out. But before we end on those two, because this is probably the last thing I'm going to say, is, fellas, we have people that's commenting on one of my pages saying y'all should do this every month. Yes, I think we should. I think we should do this every month because I think it's dope. We already do our Fresno State, we do our quarterly Fresno State report with Justin. I think we should do this. I don't know. Y'all give us the answer whenever y'all can, but I think we should return and give the fans what they want. Yes,
game.
It's been fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's fun interacting with Fresno fans on a live feed versus just behind a screen on social media.
I love it. All right, so Bronco Man, let's go. Sell us.
Boise's one of the most beautiful cities in America. You got the #1 sports attraction nationwide. We build winning cultures here. We have the longest streak for most consecutive winning seasons. We produce first-round picks. No matter if you play 8-man or 11-man football, we got a spot for you here. We build generational talent. And last but not least, we're also known for traveling to away games. You watch games, they will always say Boise has the best fan base when it comes to traveling. So the fans are behind you, regardless of where you're playing at. If you're playing in Washington, D.C., the fans are going to travel to support you. Even if they're playing in that rinky-dink Valley Children's Stadium, we're traveling to support you.
I love it. All right. Boise, Fresno State, last but not least. Justin, you got to come hard, man, because they're going to get you on the page. And you got to come hard. You got to end. Here we go. It's on you.
So let's say our mountains are better. Our lakes are better. We have a beach. You want to go to the beach? You come to us. Our women are more beautiful.
Yes.
Okay. Our city has actual.
I got
culture.
something to rebuttal that.
This is my time. This is my time, sir. Okay.
I've seen the women you hang out with them Boise decked out in all Boise gear.
Don't take my time. Okay.
I'm gonna post those pictures on social media. Just for you, big dog.
We actually have culture in our city. You will be welcomed with open arms in our city. We're not a one-man team. If you want to be a part of a team, you come to Fresno State. And if it's not, let's be clear about this. It's not just about making the NFL, because that's what we do here at Fresno State. It's putting your name in a gold jacket. Okay, you'll never have a gold jacket. All right, never. All right. So you want to be in a gold jacket? You come to Fresno State. The end. That's it.
Man, y'all all killed the game. Kudos to y'all. Kudos to y'all. To our main man, Bryan Welch. Close us out, baby.
You know what? A great way to close out night one of the NFL draft with little Boise State versus Fresno State. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen on November 1st on the Smurf turf in the Treasure Valley in Boise. But for now, that will do it for Straight Up On Game. We will be back next Thursday, 8:30 on the Pacific Coast, 11:30 on the East Coast. And if you don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to get more information all time for everything about college football, NFL, any sports, is Straight Up On Game.
Hey, John, those guns ain't going to work for you November 1st.
But before everyone here is that we put this show together, I'm Bryan Welch. This has been Straight Up On Game. Before we go, here's our scholarship announcement.
All right. Before we go, we are doing something awesome here in California. Every single month, we are giving out a scholarship to aspiring JUCO high school players and D1, D2, it doesn't matter, for gentlemen who just portray themselves as being a student athlete. And what they had to do is go on our social media page, send us a video and telling us why they deserve to get this shoe scholarship. And I mean, it was a plethora full of young men, and there was two young men that was left over, and I have to get their names right now because it slipped my mind with my CTE from all the concussions. So I got to look right now and find the names right now. I'm sorry, but I will say this: ever since we started for the Wright Family Consulting Group LLC, we've been getting nothing but love. We've been helping young men and young women all over the United States. And, the Heritage Bowl, we do it every year. We actually have a bowl game where we honor seniors all over. And it's played in San Diego, California, sunny San Diego. And the gentlemen come, they play, they spend the night, they have great coaching. And we have a big showcase. Last year, we were sold out for the last 3 years. And we have over 83 young men who are now playing at the next level. So I'm getting to the name right now. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Sorry, folks. We had to get 6 minutes. You know how Boise and Fresno go down. We don't look at the time. We just keep going. I'm almost there. Here we go. All right. So, without any further ado, our shoe scholarship for the month of April is no other than the name of, y'all ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Gage Pritchett. Gage Pritchett is the winner. Gage Pritchett is the winner. Congratulations, Gage. You have won you a pair of cleats. So you have literally 24 hours to call us so we can shoot you over the funds immediately. So call us right now. Call me, contact our group, contact whoever, and we'll be able to bless you, and you'll be able to come on the show next week and share. So we will see y'all next week. Thank you, Boise. We appreciate y'all. Thank you, Fresno State. We out.